going to do is that I am going to speak to you on the problem of database in this country. I thought I will focus on this particular topic, and I'll also bring out a recent study done in Tamil Nadu on migration, because I thought this is something we should start talk about the database issues. And for that, what I want to, we can see that. I will speak about the survey a little later. I want to talk to you about this database issue because some of you who are familiar with Indian migration, we had high-level committee on Indian diaspora. Some of you probably familiar. It was started by NDA-1. Of course, NDA-1 proposed for a Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs. But the NDA-2 disposes that anyway. So it's like NDA-1 proposes, NDA-2 disposes anyway. And UPA came in the middle. So I think we in fact we are writing something on NDA-1 proposes, NDA-2 disposes. And when the NDA-1 proposed for a ministry, in their report, they write in the introduction, the committee writes, we have 20 million Indians. And then if you go back to the appendix of that particular report, if you add all the numbers, it's only 16 million. So I had a meeting with one of the members, he said, 20 million, it's a good number, 20. So it's good rather than 16, when you add up, it's like, we make some type of good numbers. They said 20 million in several countries. And then, of course, the UPA came and they started a new Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs, which is not existing right now. And in their first annual report, some of you should go and see, they write that we have now 25 million. So you ask somebody, look here, we have a ministry, so we should tell we have more people. So we made from 20 to 25. And then you can look at every year MOA produces annual report. Of course, you want a copy you can get from Dr. Bhaskar is here. He will give you all the annual report which is available in the website. Anyone can look at it. After 5 years of the MOA, I saw the annual report. It said we have now 30 million. Then I had a long chat with the secretary because I worked with the ministry for quite some time, last 10 years. We had a ministry, we had a big migration unit funded by the ministry for last 10 years, which brought out, for example, they were helpful in bringing out the India migration report and other things. So he said, look, we have completed 5 years, we might have added 1 million every year, so 25 moved to 30. The explanation was very good because he said, 5 years, add 1 million every year. So 2004, we were 30, 25, now we become 30. Of course, then there was a lot of discussion saying that no, it's very high and very low. And after 2 years, they brought down to 27 million. And now they are moving around 30, but now there is no implication because there is no ministry. You say 35 or 40, there is no implications. This is what we are standing in this country when we work on migration. We have no numbers. When I was visiting the Gulf countries for study from 2002 onwards, I had a chat with the ambassador in UAE. I asked him, how many Indians are there in your country? He said, depend upon the situation, I will give the number. If I am speaking with the UAE government, I will put our number low. I don't want to tell them that we are so many. If I am talking to the Indian Migrant Association in UAE, I will say we are the number 1. That's what our ambassador right now said, number 1. He is talking to us. He will not talk to the Saudi Arabian government, we are number 1. Because he will say, no sir, we are number 3 only sir. This is what the number is floating around in this country. In fact, we know from India how many Bata shoes are exported. They will give you month-wise figure, how many shoes are size 9, size 10, size 8. We know how many cars are exported from this country. And we are so poor, we don't know how many Indians are going from this country. It is shameful for India. It is shameful, I say, because we always talk about India as a country with technology, technocrats, we develop database. You don't know, man, how many people are leaving your country. And there was a crisis in Australia about students. Indian government have no idea on how many students in Australia. Of course, Australian government has given some numbers. We have no idea. We are walking in darkness. We are walking in darkness. I think in that context, what we are doing from the Institute and the Center for Development Studies, we have started putting some type of a database for state level. We started with the 1998 first survey, and we put down the survey on how many people are in the Gulf. In fact, the ambassadors used to quote our numbers from Kerala. And then we have done 6 rounds of survey in Kerala. And we motivated the MOA to fund a survey in Gujarat. They funded a survey in Gujarat. We motivated the government to fund a survey in Goa. They funded in Goa. And there was a study done in Punjab, a migration survey. We are putting some numbers on these places and providing with a lot of statistics. Now, if you go back to this slide, is that basically we also thought we should do a study on Tamil Nadu. Because Tamil Nadu has a history of migration like Kerala, but we know any numbers. I had a lot of meeting with the government. They said we don't know. Maybe we are close to Kerala. We may be very close, sir, but we don't know. How many remittances coming? No, sir. We are getting. India gets 72 billion, but that is one number RBI gives, and the World Bank gives 73 or 71. But how much comes to Kerala? We don't know. How much comes to Uttar Pradesh? We don't know. We don't know because we have no idea. We talk about India. We are number one. We are number one. But money is going where? We don't know. With whose household? With whose communities? With whose districts? Like Kerala has 4 international airports. Do we need 4 international airports in Kerala? 32 million people. Even Sri Lanka with 30 million people, they have only 1 airport, Colombo. But Kerala with 32 million, you have already 3 international airports. We are going to open 1 more. So we have Trivandrum, Cochin, Calicut, and we are going to open in Kannur. And in fact, from Kerala, we have only 2 flights to Delhi. Only 2 flights. If you miss 1 flight, there is no flight. You can't go to Trivandrum. But you can go to Dubai. Every half an hour you have from Trivandrum to Dubai, Trivandrum to Sharjah, Trivandrum to Abu Dhabi, Trivandrum to Qatar. So we are all connected with Gulf. Sometimes I also wonder why Kerala should be called as a state in India. It should be called as one of the emirates of UAE. Of course, then I will be probably anti-national, probably. I will write. So please don't watch it. Because what if something happens in Dubai, it is affected in Kerala. That's a global crisis problem. Nidakat in Gulf problem. But then we are depend on the Gulf. So our survey has clearly found out 1/3 of the Kerala population is directly or indirectly benefited by migration. This is our survey finding. 1/3. 1/3 is a big number. So we don't worry about Kerala politics. Whoever comes, we don't care. We'll go to Gulf and make money. It is LDF or UDF or communists, we don't care because this place is Gulf. So that means, you can think of how Kerala is being connected to other countries. If you go to Chennai, there are airports and there are countries. I want you people, some of you should look at this airport. You go to the Chennai and look at where the flights are going. We never do studies on that. We always talk about migration remittances. These air routes, train routes. These are all talks about people mobility. There are flights. Where it goes, I think some data should be looked at it. For example, now I had a meeting with Abu Dhabi, Etihad Airlines. People said Gulf is dead for India. And the Etihad fellow told me, are we fools? We are joining with Etihad Airlines. We are going to make money. And Etihad is flying now 12 cities in India. From Abu Dhabi, you can come to 12 cities in India. And from there, you can go to anywhere in the world. Abu Dhabi is basically, you can go to anywhere. And Gulf will, and then Emirates is buying A380, big flights, 500 people can come. I asked them, why do you want to buy? It is for you people, workers. For you only, because where we go, we cannot fly to America to 500. Kerala we can come, Tamil Nadu we can come. Now they are going to UP, Lucknow. Things are changing, but we have to put up some numbers. Some numbers, even the conference if you are doing, you should know how many are coming. Otherwise you will make some tea, there will be not enough tea. So we have to think of the policy. We never think about migrants because neither the government nor anybody interested on them. We are all interested in money behind the remittances. We never talk about migrants. We are always interested in money. That's why we never talk about the numbers. numbers. I think this is something very, very important. And what you have from India, you have some ECNR data, which is tip of the iceberg. Some data they give you. I think some of you familiar with the database. It gives you some number. 1 lakh people from Rajasthan goes, but nothing. We know nothing about that. Because it's only the ECNR passport holders, people who are 10th standard fail. If you are 10th standard pass, you don't need to go to them. You will be not exploited. If you are 10th standard fail, you will be here. I think that itself against human rights. How in the earth you can divide the people on 10th standard this side, fail, 10th standard pass. This has to go to the public court and we should abolish the system. Because you can't divide the people on education. And we are doing it for so many years. And we will do continuously for some more time. But of course, I'm sure that with the immigration bill, they are going to abolish that. There will be no more ECNR passport. Because I always feel that ECR passport means exploitation compulsorily recommended passport. ECR means nothing but they will squeeze you money from the agent, from the POA office, from the customs, everywhere they will be taking money from you. So you are exploitation compulsorily recommended passport. They look at your passport, then the customs will also come. What are you bringing? What are you bringing? He will take you somewhere. And then he will take from you 200 rupees. That's all, nothing more. You have been exploited everywhere because the passport says you are a ECR fellow. That means you are illiterate. You can't fill the form. And you are identified. It's like riots are going on. Something. You say that I am a Muslim. You are killed because you are identified or you are a Sikh. So you are allowing people to identify you are illiterate. So you go the different way. And what are you protecting? You are not protecting. You are putting a seal for payment. The government. At the end of the day, when he goes to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, they don't care about your ECR passport. They say you have a visa, you can come in. They don't even look at your passport. That's why people are pushed out. Because you may say a 30-year-old woman cannot go to Dubai. But she arrives with a visa even in 27. They will say, please come because she has a valid visa. You are stopping her, but she can go through manipulation. That's what that's happening pushing women. So we thought we should fix up some numbers. Now let us look at it. Look at this data. For example, Tamil Nadu was higher than Kerala for quite some time. And of course, the latest data correctly indicates UP has taken over from Kerala. And last year data indicates Bihar has taken over. Forget about Tamil Nadu. So now we have to start doing survey in Andhra Pradesh, UP and Bihar. We have to move. We have to quickly move because currently if there are people going from UP is increasing and they have not a history of migration to Gulf. So they will be exploited more. Are the government ready to understand the changes happening in the states of origin? Keralites are not going because Keralite cannot compete with a Nepali laborer. Only UP can do. Only Biharis can do. $200. Who want to go from Kerala? $200 people can come to Kerala and earn money from Northeast. Why should they go? A fellow gets 600 rupees, 700 rupees per day. He works for 20 days, he'll get 15,000 rupees. Why should he go paying 1 lakh to Gulf? Nobody will go. So automatically people are contesting. You are working, fighting along with Nepalis, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Who can fight? Not Keralites. UP and Bihar. I think government has to think on that. So the things are changing. So we have to move. But this study is started in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu. And I said earlier, Kerala has a history of surveys. I think some of you are interested in the research. This all data is available for people to do research and there are theses written on that. There are people using it in both in India and abroad. You can look at it, 98, 2003, 7, 8, 11. All based on 15,000 households. So we estimate based on that. And we also pushed some people, like we have done in Goa. Directly CDS did it. And we also supported the Punjab survey with our what is called the Kerala model of sampling. So Punjab report is downloadable from the grid. It's a center for that's a center for development at not our institute, some other institute, ICSI institute. You can download the report. And Gujarat report are done in the JADR, so you can also get the Gujarat report. So we have pushed other states to do the study because when you do different states, you get different patterns. From Gujarat, people don't go to Gulf. We go to Ahmedabad. Not many flight to go to Gulf. They want a direct flight to London. They don't want direct flight to Abu Dhabi. Who wants to go to Abu Dhabi? No. If you go to Punjab, the Canadian ambassador told me last time when I was here, sir, we are opening an embassy in Chandigarh. Why? Direct flight from Chandigarh to Toronto. So you can understand different mechanisms. Whereas Kerala, there is no flight to London. Who wants to go to London? All of them goes to Gulf. So I think the whole understanding of each state will provide you some state level policies. Because you can't do, India cannot do whole thing. So every state has to play a role. Then you have to understand your own state dynamics. Who goes illiterate? Which community? Can you help them out? Can you help them on remittances use? You can think of many things. So for that you need a state level study. And this is what we did for Tamil Nadu. I'm going to give you a small presentation on Tamil Nadu because I just presented to the government of Tamil Nadu last week. And we are going to have a press conference in Chennai in few days from now. Then I'll be talking about Tamil Nadu study for next, maybe this whole month, this whole year. And we are also launching a survey in Telangana very soon. Because it's not Andhra Pradesh had large migration. In fact, Telangana had a large migration. All the women migration, all cheated is all in Telangana in 10 districts. So we are already talking with the Chief Secretary. And we are also moving towards doing a survey in Bihar. We are told to Nitish Kumar government, they are sending 50,000 crores as remittances. When we told to the government, we did not know. I said, you don't know because you are talking about vote politics. You should know your people are suffering in other countries. They are sending money. They are sending money. And it is not the black money you are talking about. It is a blood money. Please remember the Gulf money is a blood money. They are staying at 50 degrees. We don't go and stay there. You can't even stand outside. When I was running in the Gulf, you have to run from place to place. And recently I was in Qatar and they told me if the climate code goes above 50 degrees, then they have to stop working. This is a government rule in Qatar. Then somebody told me, because the rule is there, actually the climate will be 54, but the government will be showing only 49. In your car, it says outside 54, but state shows 49.5, 49.8, 49.7, 49 is like a dollar moving up. It never goes 50 because they have to announce 2 hours break. And they are sweating and they are basically squeezing their bloods and sending this money. What you talk about 70 billion dollars is a blood money. And what you know about them, you know only about their money. Can any government can spend, I told the bigger government, you are getting 50,000 crores. Can you spend 1 crore on a study to find out who are going? Can you do? Can you not do this? You should give them something back to these fellows. At least know how many are there. How many are suffering? How many are in jail? How many? I think you should do. It's a moral duty. You are only receiving. Never give back. What is this you are talking about? Giving back. I also told the bigger government, look, migrants are like candles. Migrants are like candles. What happens, candles? You put the candle here, it gives light to you. After some time, what happens to the candle? It's not there. It sacrifices. The migrants sitting in the Gulf are sacrificing their life for their wives and children, parents and grandparents here. They are, and then they are not there, they are dead. Returned migrants die before other migrants. Do you have any evidence on that? We have no studies on that. People go and work in Gulf in the 50 degree. You think they will survive longer after they come back? I talked to many returned migrants in Kerala. When they go, they do all checks. You have to have a medical checkup. You can't go to Gulf. You have to have medical checkup. When they come back, they say we have every disease now. You go, you have nothing. When you come back, you have blood pressure, simple, you have this one, I have that pain, I have back pain, I have everywhere pain. And you die. Are we talking about migrants' health? If you are unhealthy, you can't go to Gulf. They will not take you, they will test you. But then when you come back, you have come back. That means you are sacrificing not only for your family, for the growth of that country. That's why one man told me in Abu Dhabi when I went in 2002, sir, when I came to Abu Dhabi, nothing was there in the Gulf. Only sand, sand, sand. We built this country. But we have no rights. We have no right. We come as a labor And we go as a labor. Nobody talks about citizenship there because we cannot. You can go to Canada, 5 years completed, give me PR. UK, 3 years, give me PR. Anybody talks about PR? No, you go with a labor card, you die with a labor card, even they will not allow you to bury your dead body. And we built this country. And one man told me, he told me, sir, every building you see in the Gulf, big building, 20 floor, 30 floor, at least at the time of construction there will be one accident. And some people who have died, shed their blood for that building. Who should be likely to be? Either Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi. Of course, we all together once upon a time, it's basically Indian blood. Historically, we were together, India, Pakistan, we were together. So if you look at it, we set blood there and set blood money here. What we know about them? We don't know nothing about them. Are they paid salary? Are they getting salary? We know nothing about them. We talk about migration, remittances, development, this, that, and other things, but we never talk about them. I think for that we should put some numbers on them. You have to know how many are there. And Tamil Nadu survey is conducted among 20,000 households to estimate the migration. I will give you some results for you because I'm not going to explain to you all this question for you because you are all a different group of people. But I want to give you an idea how the survey is real to sample. As per the 2011 census, the average household size is 3.89 in Tamil Nadu. That means in the house if you go, there are only 4 people living there. We did 20,000 household, a representative sample based on stratified random from up to down. And when we did the 20,000, we put a household size, our number is 3.98. So our sample size is highly representative to have an estimate. Our sample is not that bad. One indicator says just 3.89 census. They go to every house and spend crores of money. Government of India does every 10 years we do. So 2011 they said 3.89 and our survey said 20,000 household 3.98. So that we want to tell them that our sample size, the structured sample we planned was almost good. Now I will not give you this. I want to give you this for some scholars who are sitting here, young scholars, basically people who are young and who want to take up survey in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Rajasthan. You have to start. Don't wait for that. Government will do. Government will not do anything. Don't depend upon the government. In fact, the diaspora organization can do. I told you sometime in Andhra Pradesh. If you talk to the Andhra Pradesh diaspora who are in America, they will fund your study. If you want to do in Bihar, you can talk to somebody in Suriname. They will fund your study. But it's not a big study. It's like, but you have to think about them. You have to have the feeling for those migrants. We want to know about them. I think this is very important. We can do several estimates at several levels. I'm telling you, we have done several methods to give the range is something about 20 lakhs from Tamil Nadu, which was not known at all. Now, I give you something, a map for you in Tamil Nadu. This is something important for all of you to look at it. Many times people tell, sir, migration is happening in only 2-3 districts. Why can't you do that 3 district survey? We can't do. We have to do the survey in all districts. Then only you will be able to give a pattern. You look at that, the heavy migration is basically like the coastal. But you see, there are white color. No migration, no international migration. Not at all. Whereas, your airport will not be there. Airport will be in the other place. Madurai, Tiruchi. So you have to link these, otherwise they have to suffer. People have to come and stay in Bombay. Nagpur, they have to come and stay night, stay there. We are not talking, you don't know where they are coming from. That's why the Kerala fellow said, why should Kollam man should go to Trivandrum? I want the airport. Okay, Kochi. You don't go to Trivandrum. Then the other fellow said, why? We should go to Kochi. We want the airport. Okay, Calicut. Other fellow said, why? We should go to Calicut. We want in Kannur. Okay, fine. I think that synergy has to be created. The Western Union has to be created. Air India has to fly those routes. I think we have to think of where it is happening. Then only you can plan policy. You see, there are districts. You can look at it in very carefully like Ramanathapuram. And these are the districts historically, a rice mill district like Tanjavur, other thing, they are now leaving. People talk about displacement within the country because the agriculture is not doing well, people are leaving. So you can look at it. Whereas you have no office in Bihar, no office in Rajasthan, no office in UP. And then someone told me, sir, I told them, please close one and open in Rajasthan. They told me, no sir, they want to open one more in there is a lot of pressure. They want to open one more. What, to make money? And finally, they opened one in now Jaipur, they opened one in Raebareli in UP. They have to open it up. You have to give them, you have to make them user-friendly policies. The fellow cannot go here, Rajasthan fellow cannot come to Delhi and pay money here, stay there, agent. So agents are running up and down. I think we have to go and provide services for them. This is the immigrant situation in Tamil Nadu by districts. We have 32 districts in Tamil Nadu because Kerala only we have very little, and Telangana only 10 districts. So you can see that there are many districts are not touched by international migration. They will be touched by other migration. And look at that. This is again return migrants. See the return migrants. There are areas where, because if you go to Gulf, you have to return. Not like America. Why people are running to student migration, going to Singapore and other countries? Because they will not come back. How many students have come back after went to Australia, Canada, UK? You tell me? No. Very few. 80% are not coming. Why they go? They are not going for studies sometimes, they say. In fact, I was in Australia after the crisis, so they asked me to look at it. I was in Monash. They told me that people are coming now, they are not coming for studies. They are coming for PR. They are creating problems. It's not study. It's not like you have institutes here. They are coming for, I asked one lady, what are you doing? I'm doing cookery course. I'm doing hairdressing. They are not going for study. They are going for PR. That's what happening in Canada. So, things are changing because they are giving PR. Whereas you spend 20 years in Dubai, they will give you not give you any visa. You have to, every year you have to renew your visa every 3 years. I think this is very important. And the people who go to Gulf, they have to come back. So what happened? They are thinking themselves. Then I met another return migrants. I said, what are you doing, sir? I am an agent. What agent? I am a recruitment agent. Huh? What do you do? Sir, I send 2 people every month. I get 2 lakhs. Because I know a lot of people in Dubai. I was there for 20 years, so people trust me. So I am an agent, sir. Don't tell anyone. My survival is on sending people to Gulf. So I told them Kerala has 1.2 million agents. We have 1.2 million return migrants. So these people have to do some work. When you come back at the age of 45, what you will do? You have to do something. They are doing lot of things to themselves do that. And this survey also talks about out migrants. Our survey, not only international like somebody told today, within the country we have 400 million people are moving within the country. So you can't ignore internal migration because internal migration is a vehicle for international migration. Because if you look at 60s and 70s, Keralites were everywhere in India. They started moving to Mumbai first. They started moving to Chennai. You go to any city in 70s and 80s, the stenographers are from Kerala. Stenographers. So internal migration is a vehicle for international people. We don't talk about that's a link. So Keralites were 50s, 60s and 70s, they were internal migrants. Then they thought, why should we go to Bombay? Trivandrum, Bombay takes 4 hours, there is no flight also. Let us go to Dubai. They moved the directions because they were already accustomed to the mobility. That's why Kerala is called the money order economy. Now it is called remittance economy. You are not getting money within the, you don't get no longer sign and get the money, you get in the bank, dollar change. Money order to remittance economy. So I think internal migration is very important. Now you see that there are districts where internal migrants, they never go to international. But after some time, they will also doing that. Because they are learning the trick. They are slowly, it's like, you go to small city, you go to big city, then you go to big city, Abu Dhabi, you go to big city, New York or London. They move. I talked to many nurses in Dubai. I said, what are you doing here? Sir, I have no business. I am come here to Dubai to get 5-year experience. My final destination is Ireland. My final destination is Australia. All nurses working in Gulf, they tell me they want only 5-year experience. We call them in, it's called a step migration. They have no interest in Gulf. Just to make some money, pay for their own dowry, pay for their fees, what they studied for this thing. And their final destination is Australia. Because they get the experience. I think people are using that. Even Gulf is used as a vehicle to move by doctors, engineers, you can see all of them. And you see the internal migration, this is a different pattern. And finally, you see return out migrant, people don't come. When you go to Bombay and you settle down, you don't come back. If you go to Dubai, you have to come back. You buy a land in Delhi, you go everywhere. So this is not much problem within the country because you stay until your retirement, you have a small shop in Delhi, you work on that, you buy that, and your children settle, and you can move within the country because we don't need passports now in India. But I'm sure that someday we may need a passport come from Trivandrum to Delhi, I may need a passport. Because we are dividing India in a different way. That's why if you say that tomorrow I need a passport to come from Kerala to Delhi, I may be called anti-national again. Because why do you want a passport? You can't go now. You can't go to Haryana. Somebody told me yesterday, I want to come, sir, I can't come. I am blocked. You can't go to some places. So tomorrow maybe time will come, we all will have a separate kingdoms. Maybe we'll call United India, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, like that. I don't know. We have to wait and see. So you can see there are a lot of changes happening around. And finally, I want to give you some back on Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Look at that. We know nothing about Tamil Nadu. Now we know that Tamil Nadu is not lacking behind Kerala. In fact, if you do a survey now in Uttar Pradesh, somebody told me Uttar Pradesh decides who will be the Prime Minister. I said Uttar Pradesh will decide what will be the future of migration in India. Uttar Pradesh will decide. So Uttar Pradesh will not decide only the Prime Minister of India. They need 80 seats. No. Uttar Pradesh will decide what is the future of immigration looks like in India. You want to know India's future migration, all of us should go to UP. Rajasthan, Bihar, because they also have demographically viable. Now they have a lot of young population. Because Kerala is as old like Italy. Kerala women produce only 1.3 children. I asked somebody why this Italian came and killed 2 people. We are closer because we also produce 1 child. They also produce 1 child. So we come and kill them because they have the same spirit. Aging population, they are like that. So, but UP, Rajasthan, they will have lot of people. They will move. So you make in India, you do skill India, they will not be in India. They all will be outside. So I think time has come. Now you look at that. Tamil Nadu has 22 lakhs, 2.2 million people outside India. Of course, when you look at Tamil Nadu, this is REM in return migrants. Immigrants mean who people are living from Tamil Nadu, living outside anywhere in the world. And return out migrants lived outside anywhere in Tamil Nadu, within the country coming back. And then OMI means people who are living outside Tamil Nadu within India. So we have internal and international. Return. This is like a very detailed one. It's available for you, you can look at that. And the point I want to make is that Tamil Nadu is not lacking behind Kerala, which is not known. This is brought out by this study. And final slide, I can also give you some more idea on Tamil Nadu because Kerala, 90% of the migrants goes to Gulf. Whereas Tamil Nadu, only 53% goes to Gulf. Other 40% goes to Singapore, Malaysia. And that's why I went to one day night to check what are the flights going. Everywhere night, Singapore, Malaysia, Air Asia, this thing. Whereas you go to Trivandrum, I asked Trivandrum, what is the flight you have Singapore? Sir, I asked Silk Airways, well, you are not coming regularly, sir. Sir, we can come regularly every day to Tamil Nadu, but Trivandrum we don't come. So the Singapore airline flies to Trivandrum 3 days a week. Singapore airline. 3 days to Trivandrum, 3 days to Cochin. Whereas Singapore airline flies 2 times to Chennai. Air India flies 3 times. Air Asia flies 3 times. Now Tiger Airlines, I don't know the name also, I can't pronounce them. Some airlines are coming. I don't know, they will land or they will go somewhere, I don't know. But anyway, they are coming. But anyway, laborers who bothers. If the plane goes, that's it. Anyway, look at the remittances. We talk about $72 billion for the country. We have given right now, Tamil Nadu getting 61,000 crores. Kerala is getting 68,000 crores. In fact, UP is getting 84,000 crores. I will not put that. I will put it to the UP government after some time. Because one fellow goes from UP, one fellow goes from there, he is supporting 3 people. 1:3. He sends money to protect these 3 people. Whereas this skilled migrant, all you talk about, I met, now I was in Qatar, they are sending some people out because of the oil crisis. People are losing jobs who have wives and children. So somebody told me, sir, what will happen? Nothing will happen. They will go to Canada again. Somewhere they will go. But the remittance will not happen. They never send money. Okay, their family is there. Husband is there, wife is there, children is there. Now they are staying, requesting the company to give us visa for 2 months stay, and they are staying there on their own because their daughter is studying in the school. They can move the school only after some time. Whereas remittances is sent by the unskilled, semi-skilled migrants. Skilled migrant sends once in a while. Father is having a heart attack, he will send 3 lakhs. Go for bypass surgery immediately. Okay. Otherwise, they are not their regular money senders. And look at that. Remittances to equivalent to Tamil Nadu is 14.5%. Whereas Kerala, the remittances equivalent to GDP is 36%. In fact, I was talking with the World Bank, Triprata, you are putting countries with the proportion of GDP. Why can't you put Kerala there? He said Kerala is not country, sir. You can't do anything. If you put Kerala, we are the biggest, number 1 in the world. 36% of the GDP, but Kerala is not bigger. India is only 4.8%. So India will never figure out in the GDP. India will figure out only in the number, 72 billion. I told him, please put at least Kerala. So whenever I go to World Bank, I will tell him, I put Kerala. Then I have data, but he said he also has no data. So I have data, I put them. If you put that 36%, that means how important for that, for economy, society, people. You should imagine that. You can buy. But last time when the government said that NRI can come and vote. NRI can come and vote in this country. There was a political party said, we will bring plane of people. Free ticket, come and vote. You can come. 6,000 people voted in the last elections in Kerala. You can tell them, no, you are prepping people for money for voting. Give them a free ticket, he will come and vote, see his wife and go. But remittances is a big money. It can change the whole economy. I stop here. Thank you very much.